afternoon, 5th of Feb. I'm just going to have a quick perv at me bins while I'm on the allotment. First one, leaf mould. Take the lid off. Him have a nose. This is the leaves I've bunged in this year. 2 bits of carpet on the top. Still nice and moist, so them are okay. When they start drying out, then I'm going to throw some more weight on them. This is one in use now. Monday I did my composting, which means I bunged another load in. You can see the worms on the carpet, that's a good sign. 2 bits of carpet in there. If I lift the first one, yes. Because you've got that ideal conditions in between the 2 layers of carpet, you've got your own little wormery. You've got to keep these carpets moist. That's why they will stay there and grow rapidly. Tiger worms, love them. Lifting the other lot, yeah, activity there as well, excellent. Look after them, they'll look after you. Keep them moist, keep them warm. Carpet round the bins. 'Tis winter still. Right, I'm going to show you an emptying. I bloody saft. I'm just showing you what I do. If I fill him up and I've got to start from scratch again, I'll take the carpet out of the bottom, obviously. Now, to stop the mould coming in, or drop chicken wire at the bottom to stop the mould getting in, all he was doing then was lying on the bottom with his bloody mouth open, and the worms were dropping through the chicken wire. So now what I do, if I'm starting from here, I'll fill that with 2 foot of straw, then start putting my compost ingredients in. By the time that straw's broke down, my compost is ready and out. You don't get no bloody worms. Move to the next one. This one's ready. Let's have a nose of him. 2 bits of carpet again. Worms there. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. This will be used for a top dressing, which will go on my raised beds down there. Once I've top dressed with that, it'll be done. He's ready and all. This leaf mould, this is last year's, so I've been emptying this. This is one of my compost ingredients. That's all I use my leaf mould for now. But this was shredded for it winning. Look at that, excellent brew. Them are nice and moist, still breaking down. Just keep them moist, keep them warm, and nature will look after it for you. Right, I'm still down the plot. Before I go back home, I thought I'd get a bit of compost out, which is the ready stuff, obviously. And here it is. I've just got this out the bin. This is just over a month old, about 5 weeks. Lovely brew. Still got the worms in, so they'll do my digging. When I get it, lift the top off here, all I do is get the hand fork and break it up. That way it's easier to get in my bucket. Small pieces. Normally this stuff would be a bit dry, and if it was breaking down, then I'd get a bit of water. But look at that, beautiful. Still on the plot, just getting a bit more. You can see 2 allotments there, the sprouts in the background. Just about ticking over. Just going to give it a quick perv of mine. There's only 2 left in now. Take the tops off about end of November or something, then all the goodness goes into the sprouts. Look at them, firm as a badger's tadger. Nice and solid. Good sprouts because you got a good brew in the bed. Common sense says. I'll just show you my raspberries while I'm here. Fence still up, as you can see. Keep the bloody badger out. Still a pain in the arse. Wind's blowing all my bloody flags down. Still blowing a hoolie now, so I ain't going to put them up for a bit. Right, my raspberry bed. The only bed that goes north to south, meaning when they do get the sun, goes both sides of the raspberries. I cut these back probably about a week ago, 10 days. You can see the new growth and the old growth. But I had my first full year of fruit off these last year. But the good thing about these, where am I? Here, Autumn Treasure. These are Pomona fruits, bloody excellent. Good thing about these, you can get 2 dollops of fruit off them. The second lot being early September, which is ideal for our show. Quick perv of my fruit cage up top. That'll do. Right, I'm now at the garden. I bought 4 bags of my compost up here off the plot before I put some on the raised beds. Just going to have a perv in here. I'm still experimenting because I put new ingredients into my compost. That's what I bought up. I've took all the worms out. Obviously I don't want them in me growing pots. I want them in the raised beds. So I'll take the worms out first, and then put my own compost in this one here, and in the other one, other compost. I'm just doing a trial. 2 leeks near enough about the same size, so 1 of each. That's got herring compost in. There's wool compost as well, plus got worm cast, vermiculite. So the other one's got a good brewing. What I'll do, I've made a mould with my cup. Take the cup out. Now I know these have had no mycorrhizae yet, so I'm going to put a dollop in the hole. And I know the roots then are going to touch it. Mycorrhizae gets going when moisture gets onto it, so I know he's going to start going now. I'll firm him in, pack him in after when I've got 2 ons. And then I'll keep it up to date with them 2. See how them 2 keep going. Right, just when we was down the plot, I told you about me raspberries that I'd cut a week ago or so. When they start coming through, I think this year I had 6 stems on each plant. When they start coming through this year, then they're going to have down to 5. The smaller amount of stems you have, the bigger and the tastier the fruit, and that's what I want for exhibition as well. So, plus when it starts growing, it gets that thick with the greenish and whatever. Then if there's any disease about, then that's going to take hold. The less stems you got up, the more air movement between everything. That's what I like about everything. Another thing I want to mention, the mycorrhizae inside the greenhouse. I use that with everything now. Basically what it is, it colonises the roots. Once it's got to touch the root to work, but once it hits the roots, then it colonises those roots, and then you get hyphae roots coming off, and they will go deeper and extend out, getting more minerals and trace elements for that plant, whatever it is, which is ideal. Right, the beds in here, if I remember earlier on, I give these a good watering. They had compost on the top, and then I covered with a weed suppressant, and I want them ticking over. If they dry out, as they can see this one here, I've took both covers off just to show you. This had dried out as well. I've just give that a good soaking with this. This keeps the bacteria, fungi active, not ticking over, as this is. This will be ticking over if it's dry. I want it working 24/7. So all I'm going to do is get another good soaking. Put the weed suppressant back on. It's exactly the same as me compost bins or my leaf mould bins down the plot. I'm just doing a moisture check, and if it needs water, then it'll get it. Right, the compost, I've got 4 bags of compost up from down the allotment. There's still worms in there, so they're going to do my digging. This is now going as a top dressing on these beds. Because I'm starting using this now as a growing medium, because these have had 1 dollop of this on anyway. But I've got another 2 bins down there. So if I've got enough, then I'll put some more on these. But exactly the same with these. I ain't had a look at these for a week or 2. As you can see, there's a good brew in there. This was top dressed with compost and all, but it is drying out a bit. So I want the bacteria and fungi to get in there. It's a little bit moist down there, but it's a good brew. Years ago, when I used to go to the, I used to cheat, go to the forest, or the woods, and this is before I started making my own leaf mould. I used to scrape all the leaf mould up, and behind used to be white fibrous roots. That's the mycorrhiza fungi. It took the big boys probably 20 years ago to find out it was mycorrhiza fungi, and then it was a good fungi. It took them another 10 years to make it in powder form, which I've used on them pot leeks in the greenhouse, and that's what I buy bulk. I find out which is the best one, which I use from Symbio, and they've got a 7 endo mycorrhizas in, which is excellent for the veg man. And I use it on everything. Gladiola when they go out, a bloody lot. That's about it meant for this one. Cheers gang.